Today we almost had it. In the city it was sunny and dry, but as we drove up into the forest it got foggy and the road was still covered in salt. So no driving today. But what's the alternative? Let me introduce you to Mitja's 964 Turbo. Mitja is even deeper into the classic Porsche world as I am, and he really drives his turbo. 2 years ago I chased him around Spa at a track event, and those laps I will never forget. We drove our cars back and forth, and I'm not going to lie, this is an absolute dream car for me. His car has a similar problem to mine: oil. If you're thinking, well Eric, we already seen that, let me tell you, the turbo is different. It's the 3.3 liter engine basically carried over from the earlier 911G model turbo. And if you thought my engine bay was packed, wait until you see this one. Today is all about stripping things down and analyzing what needs to be fixed. And, more importantly, what will probably break along the way. Side goal: do all this without pulling the engine. The first thing you have to do before even thinking about working on the engine is remove the rear bumper. We start in the rear wheel well, taking off the liners to access a few more bolts hidden under the rear lights that holds the bumper in place. While we are on the passenger side, we can remove the exhaust so it's no longer in the way. Looking at this side, you might say, let's just pull the camshaft cover and start adjusting the valves. Well, yes, but no. The exhaust tips on the driver's sides need to go as well, so we can access this bolt. Next up, the rear lights. They're actually simple. Each side is held with one bolt and the center reflector panel has a few along the top. We don't strictly need to remove all of them, but it's a good idea to take them out so you don't risk damaging anything. Behind the passenger side sits the connector for the license plate light. With the connector unplugged, we can undo the last two big bolts from underneath and the bumper is free. Now we have a clear view of the catalytic converter and something my car doesn't have: the turbocharger. On the driver's side we now try to remove the exhaust part right after the manifold. But look at those nuts and bolts. This car is 35 years old and it doesn't have a floor underneath the engine. So we say a little prayer to the WD-40 gods that these will come off. And they do. The other end of this pipe bolts to the turbo. Luckily, it's just nuts and bolts there as well, so even if we break them, they are replaceable. But again, we get lucky. We think the key is that someone used self-locking nuts made out of copper. We definitely replace all of them. The only thing still holding this section to the car are the air lines of the wastegate. Once those are off, the pipe can come out. Quick and easy task in between, removing the heater pipes on both sides. Then we remove the turbo outlet pipe. With the turbine visible, you can't resist checking it. No play at all. That's money saved right there. Now we pull the catalytic converter from the exhaust side of the turbo. One clamp, 4 bolts and an air line on the back. That's it. The underside went pretty well, but we still can't remove the turbo, because its bracket is held by bolts that also support the engine, and the rear engine tin is blocking access to the turbo oil lines on the top. So let's move into the engine bay. First thing up here is the massive intercooler. 3 bolts, a few sensor connectors at the back and underneath, and several hoses need to come off. Then you can wiggle it out. If you expect a lot of free space and all of your hopes and dreams behind it, no. You see more hoses and lines and the big Carjetronic unit. For now we leave that in place, but we need to clear the sides. On the driver's side we remove the turbo outlet pipe that runs up to the intercooler. You might have to move a few other parts out of the way to get it out. On the other side the AC compressor is very similar to mine, so no big surprise here. 4 bolts and it comes out. The bracket underneath is different, but its job is the same, to tension the belt. After that we can remove the remaining air line that we disconnected from the cat earlier. Inside this pipe is a one-way check valve that only lets air flow in one direction. Now you see one of the main reasons we are here. We remove the bolts that hold the rear engine tin on both sides so we can take off the rear section. With a lot of wiggling it finally comes out. Now we can attack a few more crusty bolts. We get slightly unlucky and pull both studs out of the turbo instead just the nuts. But that's still better than snapping them. Next we remove the AC bracket to gain more room around the engine carrier. We didn't film it, but there's one more bolt on the top, you will find it. At this point you want to support the engine because we are about to loosen its mounts. We used sturdy boxes under the engine and gently lowered it onto them. Now we are 3 bolts away from freeing the turbo, but first we remove the last line at the back. If you think you can now just pull the engine carrier down, you're wrong. Not only is there one hidden bolt in the engine bay, you also need to loosen the engine mounts themselves to get enough room to wiggle the carrier out. Now you see the other reasons we're here. We already suspected that Mitja's crankshaft seal was leaking as well. You can see a lot of oil running down from behind the crank pulley. The good news, the chain housings are bone dry. So our conclusion for the next round of work is most likely just the lower camshaft covers, especially the driver's side, and the crankshaft seal. Okay, and a lot of nuts and bolts. So now Mitja is left with a torn apart car and some homework for the next episode. I learned a lot that day and can only say one thing. If you ever get the chance to work on a 964 Turbo and help a friend at the same time, you'd better say yes. See you in the next one.